1.5 Exercise, Identifying Design Elements. The websites in this presentation are Walt Disney World and the Pokemon Center by Panzarino. First, we'll be focusing on the Walt Disney World website, starting with the color palette. Starting with primarily blues, they're on the top bar and nav bar background, the form title, bottom footer background, top footer nav links, nav link hover, and then there's the bright blue accents on the top footer and nav link hover. Primary button background, Florida resident button, hover background, Florida resident button text, and then there's blue teal, which has the featured button gradients end. For the white, there's the nav links, the form button text, the bottom footer text, the feature button text, the primary button text, the form background, the top footer background, and the H1 tags. And then for the off-white, there is top bar links. And then there's medium gray blue for the form labels, dark gray blue for the alt form labels, form drop-down text, and the H2 tags. And then there's very dark text color for the form input text, the help button text, and the H3 tags. And then it's green for the form button background. And then for the pastels and pinks, there is the help button gradient start, which is pink. And then there's the help button background gradient middle, which most of it is taken up by the blue because it only goes to the middle, so the pink is like squished. Typography. The Walt Disney World website primarily uses the Fight-inspired TWDC. It's a Disney custom typeface using font weights 300, 400, 500, 700, and that is all of them. If you want to know the specifics, it is broken down in the highlighted breakdown right here. 5 examples of design principles. Typography, only using one typeface. Contrast, proximity, alignment, and white space. And the 5 design patterns are white space, grids, positioning, simplified text, and the human interaction law. Next, we are doing the Pokemon Center, which has a color palette of grays mainly. The light grays with the search input background, the banner text hover, the medium grays search button background, the top bar links. Then there are the dark grays, which have the product title, the title category. Then there are the blue grays, which have the footer background. Then there are blues in the search bar, nav link hover, top link hover, and the banner background. And then in reds, there's the holiday nav link. And then there are whites in the search button text, the header background, the banner text, the banner button text hover, the footer link, and the H2 tags. And then there are blacks in the nav link, the banner button text, the product title, the add cart text, the banner button background, and the hover. And then there's orange and yellow. The yellow is the add to cart background, and then the orange is the add to cart background hover. And then we have the typography, which has the font families, Open Sans, Montserrat Thin, using the CSS variables for font family, weights 400 and 700. And then here are the computed styles right here. And then 5 examples of design principles. We have the human interaction principle with the Pareto law, because the site usually sells mainly Pokemon cards, so that section probably gets the most engagement. And then there's contrast, perceivability, alignment, consistency, and proximity. And then the 5 design patterns, there is navigation tabs, shopping cart, white space, rule of thirds, and categorization. Thank you for watching. Bye.